Well, hello there. Welcome to the Dana Spencer Show, where we talk about solving problems and building relationships, quitting corporate, and the freedom to walk in our God given purpose. And I am super excited today. I hope you have been exercising, you've got out, you've gotten some sun. This is the day that the Lord hath made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. And I'm super glad today because I have an amazing person right here by my right that I'm going to interview, and I know you are going to absolutely love it. So today with me, I have Mr. William Starks. Woo! Show him some love in the comments. Show him some love. I am super excited to have you here today. And here's the story that I want to tell. So recently, I saw your picture on a flyer, and I thought it was a panel, right? Okay. I think it was you, Dave Christopher, William E. Summers, and I was like, ooh, this is going to be a good panel. So I think it was only like $50. So I pay my little $50, I attend the event, and I get there, and it's like the mayor and all kind of community people, and you're getting an award, and they're listing out all these amazing things that you have done. And I'm like, oh my goodness, he is up, right? So, I mean, unbelievable. And you're just such a humble guy. You're just like, I just do my thing or whatever. So tell the world a little bit about you and what you want us to know about William Starks.
Well, thank you, Coach Dana, for bringing me here. I mean, it's a pleasure. And hopefully somebody's going to get something out of this.
Yes.
And to just go back to what you're saying, my name is William Starks. I'm the principal broker and owner of G Starks Realty Company. It is a 23-year-old real estate company. It was founded by my mother. That's where the G comes from, Geraldine Starks, in 2000. And going through the years, she's always just wanted to have a one-man kind of shop. And I took over and kind of helped her see and grow the company a little bit more. And we do commercial leasing, residential, property management, and residential sales. So we've expanded a little bit. We do have a
little bit.
We have about 23 real estate agents. We have 5 that are Hispanic. So we have a diverse group of people. They are amazing.
Well, see, now you made me go into, somebody was asking me for a Hispanic. Okay, keep talking. I'm sorry.
So, and to answer the question of just being humble, I think there was a point in my time where I chased the money, and every day I woke up wanting to make much money as I could. And then it realized to me that life is short and I need to enjoy life a little bit more, and just give back and try and just do what I want to do and live my life. So, after 24 years of UPS, I left UPS and been doing real estate full time since 2014.
So working at UPS for 24 years, slanging packages or driving for them, what made you take the proverbial leap to real estate?
So it's a good question because I know we talked about it. E.T. the hip hop preacher, I was on Facebook one day and saw this clip of him. If you want it bad as you want to breathe, then you'll be successful. I watched that clip over and over and over and over, and I went home and wouldn't go to sleep until I got my website together. I got all my marketing together. I got my business plan together. I mean, I stayed up endless nights because he said, if you want it bad, you want to breathe, you'll be successful. So I didn't want to miss that opportunity. And one day I went to UPS, like I said, after 24 years, and I said, I'm done.
So you hear the clip when you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe. You hear that clip. You just listen to it over and over and over again until it's who you are. And then that night you create your website and your marketing and everything. So most people are like, oh, I need a team for my website. I need a team for my marketing. But you did it all.
So because my background is IT.
Okay.
So at UPS, so I was able to do my own websites and create my own logos and things like that. So, and at first I kind of put all that to the side. So I thought I was supposed to be out here just beating the pavement, trying to get myself in position. and leaving all the websites, everything else behind. But then I realized I need all this to jump out. So once I got all that together, and I realized, man, I can do this. I left UPS, and that first year without UPS, I made same amount of money I was at UPS. So I knew it was the sky's the limit for Maris.
So no, they tell you, whoever they are, right? You need to have 6 months worth of your salary saved up, and you need to do this, this, and this. None of that. You just said, you know what? I got my website, I got my marketing. I'm just going to trust myself and just go with it.
Well, now, yeah, to back up a little bit, it does take that passion, and it takes, that it's going to come. You just need more time. Because what I realized is the main thing that I depended on was the main thing that was holding me back. So that was my job. And once I realized I'm making money with real estate, but if I had more time, I could make more money. So I just didn't, I didn't have like no clients, no nothing, and just dove out there. It was picking up. So I realized I just need to get away from my job.
Because that was taking up 40, 50 hours. And you're like, if I had those 40 or 50 hours, then I can really do something.
Yes. So when I'm running in the hallway on the phone trying to talk to a client, going into the conference room and sneaking in the conference room and talking to a client, I knew it was time to get out of there. Especially when my boss said, I need to talk to you for a minute. I'm like, uh-oh.
That's never good. Yeah, they never want to give you a raise when they say that, right?
So I said, well, let me get out of here before they put me out of here. So I said, you know what? I'm out. And, first few weeks, woke up sweating, but it was a good sweat. I'm like, I got to get out here and make it happen. And so it worked out. It worked out well. So I give a lot of thanks to E.T., the hip hop preacher, for that. And another story about him, he came to Chicago about 4 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago. And I got VIP passes. I was going to finally meet E.T. So I got there the night before he was to present. I got sick and I was throwing up everywhere. So I was so sick, I couldn't get out of the bed until that Sunday. So I missed the whole thing.
Wow.
So yeah, that was a unfortunate situation that I was sick to my stomach and still sick to my stomach today. I didn't get to meet the man that, contributed to what I was going through. So that's my story about E.T.
So, and you've never met him to this day?
Never met him.
Well, I'm going to bring it up anyway. So he was at U of L a couple months ago. Did you see that? I
saw it when he was there.
Oh, okay.
So nobody told me about it. I didn't see it on social media. I didn't see the advertising anything. So when he was here, I was kind of upset again. Right. So I don't know.
Right.
He's still my guy, but for some reason I can't get to him.
Right. Oh my goodness. So I won't show you the picture of me and him then.
No.
So how important are building relationships when it comes to real estate? Because when I first started getting into this, they were saying, it's all about building relationship. It's a relationship business. Have you found that to be true on your journey?
It is. It's relationship business. It's, they say don't burn bridges because you never know who you're going to run into and how you're going to make that person feel. And a lot of people go off of feelings. So when you meet that person, you want to just make sure you leave with a good feeling. It don't have to be confrontational. It don't have to be where you're trying to boast and brag and try and overdo somebody. Just meet that person, build that relationship, and you put that in your pocket for later. And that's what I've learned.
Yeah, and you touched on, and I'm going to come back there. I'm going to put a pin in that before I come back. You said something with your story about at first you were chasing the money. Was there something that happened that helped you to transition from, okay, I can't chase the money? Because I remember when I first met DeAndre Robinson, shout out to my general contractor, DeAndre Robinson. When I first met her, I asked her for a business card. And she said, I don't have a business card. I was like, what do you mean you don't have a business card? She doesn't do any marketing. And she said to me, when you build the relationships, the money will come. And I just looked at her like she was crazy. I promise you, I thought in my head, and I don't know what my face did because my face usually does a lot of things. I don't know what my face did, but in my mind, I was thinking, does she really believe that? And now I get it. So was there a point when you realized, you know what, I got to stop chasing the money and I got to start building the relationships in order to really get to the money?
Yes. It was probably about 4 years ago. Some family things happened, and it made me realize that we only here for a little time.
Mm.
And I was trying to be at every event, every social gathering, just trying to get out there every day. And my kids always say, I'm always gone and I'm always home. So it was taking a toll on me. And, it just got to the point where I was like, you know what? I got to live my life. I'm 53, be 54 this year. So I had to start living my life. And I think, when you live your life, you're going to get less money, but you get happier. And that's where I'm at now. And I thought it was going to be rough, but now I guess people see it and now people call, and there's still those relationships that I've had. And I still, get a lot of referrals. And my business is about 80-90% referrals. So
oh, wow.
I don't have to go out and get those new people because people are kind of cheerleading and advocating for me to, hey, call him, call William. So, and that's a good thing. And now I have agents that, they're doing great. The company has a great record right now. So all that kind of plays a part. So it's just building that whole foundation to make it happen.
And so you were talking about feelings, and that's one of the things that I talk about a lot because with the flight assessment that I do, it measures your behavioral preferences in 4 key areas. One of those areas are your influence and your interaction with other people, and they associate that with the flight attendant. So, when you go on an airplane, it's the flight attendant that makes sure that you have a good experience, and they are catering to how you feel. With real estate, if you bring your feelings into the deal or the situation, you might get your feelings hurt.
Oh, yeah.
So how can you help somebody else in terms of how to manage those feelings?
Well, in real estate, you got to realize that you have an agent on the other side. They want their buyer to buy the house. You want your seller to sell the house. So, and I tell all my agents that you don't go in like both of y'all attorneys and y'all fighting each other. You go in to get the deal done. And everybody, I've been blessed to be able to work with a lot of great agents. And the first initial contact when it's, hey, how you doing? And just kind of talking it up, joking a little bit and, about the day, how the market's going. And, you kind of know, okay, this is going to be a great deal right here because I got a great agent on the other side. So it's that, again, it goes back to that first impression and that first feeling. So I think feelings are very much important. And I think that when you talk about keeping them in check, just realize y'all both there to do the job. Mm. That's what helps me out.
Okay. So, and you talked about you said 23 or 24 agents?
23. 23
agents. So that's a lot of people. That's a lot of personalities. That's a lot of attitudes. So what are if there's somebody out there who, because a lot of people want to be a real estate agent. It looks like a fun job. You show people houses, you make a whole lot of money. You get to take pictures with sold signs and put them on social media. So what are, 3 to 5 characteristics of a good agent so that people out there who are listening who want to be an agent, what is it that they need to have in order that you've seen over the years that make for a successful agent?
So I think 3 things. You got to be passionate about it. You got to be able to communicate, and you got to be able to be tough throughout some of the situations that's going to happen. Because in real estate, everybody gets paid at their job on a Friday. They get paid when the job is done. Real estate, you don't get paid until the whole transaction and everybody that's involved in the transaction everybody is at the closing table and you're finally done. So you have to be a therapist. You got to be a conductor, because now you got to talk to the lender. You got to talk to the title company. You got to update your agent. I mean, your buyer, your seller. So you got to keep all these things going at one time, and with a smiley face to make sure the deal is done. So you got to be able to go through it all. You got to be able to be tough when your friends buy a house without you, because it happens. Your family member's going to buy a house without you, because it happens. And they're going to call you and invite you to the housewarming party. So if you can get through all that, then you are going to make it in real estate. But everybody, and this is a joke, but everybody makes money as a real estate agent until they get off of Facebook. And then the reality hits.
Mm.
So your first 2 years of real estate as a rookie, you're going to have the rookie blues, and you got to be able to get past that. And if you just keep marketing, keep getting yourself out there, keep networking, it's going to come. People got to, they got to be able to trust you. And if you've been, let's just say, if you've been at Ford for 30 years, and then you get into real estate, people still think you're at Ford. Now they got to trust you and believe that you're a professional and believe that you can get the job done to sell them a house. So it's going to take a little time. And then you get people start cheerleading for you. Hey, give Dana a call, give William a call. So it just takes a little time.
Yeah, that's so good. I was a real estate agent about 20 years ago, and I should have talked to you because I did not know the 2-year rookie period. Because what I did not know is, like you were saying, there is no check every 2 weeks.
No,
right?
No.
You don't get paid until you get to the closing table. And so if you don't make it to the closing table, the buyer quits their job, or they buy a car, or they do something just crazy. And, oh, this was my favorite. You show them a bunch of houses, and then they say, I'm just going to wait.
Yeah.
And then they go back and buy one of the houses that you showed them in the very beginning. Yeah. So to your point, you have to have some thick skin in order to get started investing in real estate. It's crazy.
Skin, medication, whatever your medication is. But yeah, you got to have thick skin, because, I mean, even when you get to the, and I've learned this too, you don't, and this is, everybody knows, but you don't spend your money until you get it. Because my first 2 commission checks, I looked at how much I was supposed to get. So I'm already spending, because I know that money's going to come. And when that deal doesn't work, doesn't close, and you owe all these people, oh, it gets real.
Right.
It gets real. So you gotta make sure you got the check in hand before you spend it. Yeah. Now, and I might spend it in my mind right now.
Right.
But I don't spend it yet till I get that check.
That's so good. So you also mentioned that you had a property management company as well. So, and then, I mean, commercial leasing, like a whole list of things. So what was the order? Because I feel like when you get started investing in real estate, you want to have every part of the puzzle that you need. And one of the things is it's hard to find a good property management company. Mm-hmm. So at what point through your process did you all say, you know what, we need a property management company? Was it at the very beginning, or once you started getting property and then you needed a property management company? Where did it fit in your puzzle?
So long story short about the way it happened. My mother had a couple of properties that she managed when I came on board, and she managed for other people. Then I looked at, hey, let me do the maintenance for it. So I figured, let me make some money doing maintenance. So when I started doing the maintenance, then I realized, I said, well, Mama, we can make this a business. And, she was a one-man shop, now if you want to do it, go ahead and do it. You can do property management, blah, blah, blah. So I started helping her with property management, then got a few more properties. Then I got about 4 properties, and still in property management, starting out doesn't make a lot of money.
Right.
So I had to do the maintenance myself still. So what I would do is they would call the office, which was my house. They'd call the office, and I'd take the call about maintenance. Okay, well, I'll have somebody come out there and fix your toilet here shortly. So I change clothes, get my tool bag out. I'd go fix the toilet. And while there, they might say, well, my doorknob is broke too. I say, well, call the office so they can have a record of it. And then somebody come back out. Like, we got this big company. Well, somebody going to come back out and and take her to Knob. So then I get back to the office and get that call and schedule to go back out again and do that while I was doing some other things. But oh yeah, it was a one-man shop because you didn't have enough money to do anything. But then after we got a few more properties, uh, then there was a guy that had a 75 unit apartment complex, and that was the biggest we've had. I was going to acquire, and talking to him, I was like, "Oh yeah, we can take care of it. We got it on maintenance, blah blah blah." And so when I left the meeting with him, I called my wife and said, "Hey, I need you to quit your job." So I was like, "You got to trust me, believe in me in this. I need you to quit your job and help me with property management." She quit her job, and we got that property. We got a few more properties, and she's still doing property management.
Okay, wait. Okay. Okay. Time out. So you're doing good with the property management. You're doing the maintenance. You're doing everything. You're answering the phone. You're doing the work. I mean, you're doing it all.
Doing it all.
And you get the 75 unit building
complex. Yeah.
And then you call up your wife. So where was your wife working at the time?
Where was she at? That was 12 years ago. What was she doing? She was either cutting hair. She had a license, cut hair. And she had another job. Yeah, this is over 10 years ago. I can't remember.
Okay, so she's working two jobs.
She was working two jobs. Yeah.
Her husband calls her, and she's probably in the middle of cutting hair.
Right.
And her husband calls her and says, "Hey, I need for you to quit your job." And she does it.
It took a couple days.
But
so I was like, "I'm telling you, we need to go and get this property management company going, and I need you. I can't do this stuff by myself no more." I mean, I was doing it all, real estate and property management. So she did it. I mean, but you got to understand our relationship. I've always been that entrepreneur and come home, hey, ideal 995. Just listen to me. Here's what we're going to do. She was like, "Will you stop?" But I do it and do it, successfully. So anything I did, it took off. So it wasn't nothing out of the blue where she just like, you've always bombed at everything. And, I'm not going to follow you on this path. But yeah, so, I mean, she quit. A couple of days went by. We assigned a contract with the guy, and she came in. She hit the ground rolling.
I love that. So you had a great track record. It wasn't just, okay, you call me up, tell you, "Hey, I need you to come work over here and quit your job." You had been establishing yourself all along. It wasn't just this willy-nilly.
Right. No, but she actually got her real estate license before me.
Okay.
And then she started working for my mother before me.
Wow.
But she wasn't really practicing too much. But she helped my mother out. She helped her with the properties. She did real estate. So then I got my license, and she kind of drifted off a little bit, went back to the workforce. And I said, "Well, look, I'm going to be the one to take over the company."
Okay.
So, I mean, she wasn't, cold turkey coming into it, but she had no desire to do it until I said, "Hey, we're going to do this." We've got several hundred properties. We're starting to slow down a little bit now. I think at some point we're going to sell the property management company because she is getting burned out now. So she wants to figure out what she wants to be when she grow up.
Right. So the people on the Dana Spencer Show, we love a good love story. So how did you and your wife meet?
It's the simplest story.
Oh, well, add some enhancers to it. I'm just joking.
Well, I was a debonair guy, suave now. I mean, it was one day I got off from work. I was working third shift, this factory called NIPCO, and it was 1990. Me and my friend, we was living together. Because we was both broke, and riding down the street and saw her and her friend, and went in, "Hey, what's up?" And started talking to her and realized she cooked. So she was bringing me food to my job, and my friend was like, "Oh man, see if she can cook again." We was both hungry, and we was broke. So anytime I ate, he ate. So he's like, "Man, you need to be with her." Then the old guys at the company, oh, you're gonna marry her. Oh, you're gonna marry her, she's gonna get you. 33 years later,
Oh,
we're still
wow.
together.
Oh, man. You know the moral of that story. How many times if somebody tried to holler and you just kept on going and act like you didn't hear them? Oh, man. Now we're going to have to listen.
You gotta listen.
Oh, wow. So a lot of times the question that I get now is the difference between buying residential versus commercial. So if somebody knows that they want to eventually be in commercial, do you recommend, and this is your opinion, you know, we're not going to hold you to it or anything like that. So do you think that you have to go down the residential path, or is it okay if you want to, if you know you want to do commercial, to just jump in with commercial, or do you start with residential and work your way up to commercial?
I think it's either way you want to do it, but if you start with commercial, you're going to have to get somebody that's going to be there for you and mentor you, because commercial is a little different than residential. Commercial is a little bit more creative. Residential, you have the contracts kind of already standard where you get them out, you just fill in the blanks and go. Commercial, you can create that contract however you want it.
Oh, okay.
It can be, I want to buy this for $5 million. I need 3 months to clean everything out. Close is going to be in 180 days. You know, it just you can create it the way you want it, and that's the beauty of commercial. I mean, you don't have to have a pre-approval letter for commercial, but you got to have some type of solid backing for commercial. Residential, standard. Where's your pre-approval letter? Let's go look at houses. Let's sign this contract. 30, 45 days, we're going to close. So if you start out in the residential first, that is a good foundation just for you to get the ethics part of it, and try and be able to maneuver through the residential laws and all that stuff. But then you get over to commercial, it gets a little easier. You don't need a mentor, but you do need somebody that you can call and try and get those answers answered. So I've been doing commercial maybe about 5 years, and I've put many creative deals together, which I mean, the commercial, it takes a little longer to do, longer to close, and it might fall through at the end. But once you get into commercial, it is very, I mean, I would say it's almost soothing, you know, because it's a totally different beast. You know, you don't deal with the single family, either, you know, one person or the married couple, that they have to go through their finances. They got to make sure they don't buy a car. They got to get all the paperwork together. You know, that's a little different than commercial. Just normally a guy wants this building. This guy wants to sell the building. Let's figure it out.
So if we think about like your portfolio yourself, so do you have like a mixture of residential and commercial in like your personal portfolio?
I did. I just sold all my residential first of the year and bought all commercial.
Wow.
So I don't know the proper word for this, but I'm getting a little too old to deal with residents.
But you've done it for a long time, and you did the maintenance work too.
And the maintenance.
You think that may have had a little bit to do with the burnout?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. So right now we have, well, the commercial properties. I love when people go home at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. The kids are not throwing stuff in the toilet. So it's just a little different. And then the tenants take care of the maintenance themselves. So it's just a little easier. It's a little stress, a little less stress.
So can you kind of walk us through one of the commercial deals that you've done with some numbers? Because we like numbers. If it's okay.
So I tell you how I create this one creative deal I did. So there's a property, commercial property. They wanted X amount of money for it. I didn't have that money. So I asked them, could they do at least option to purchase?
Mm-hmm.
So I asked them for 3 years. They said no. Asked for 2 years. They said no. So asked them for a year. They said they'll do a year. So even in that deal, I asked them, could I have 3 months before payments due, so I can get in, get it together, clean it up and all that. So they they were willing to do that. So within those 3 months, I found somebody that was needed commercial property lease. So I found them, got them in there. They started paying rent in the second month. So now they're paying rent. So now I turn around my third month. Now it's time for me to pay them. So now I haven't came out of my pocket with nothing. They're in there paying my rent. Well, paying me, and I get to pay them. So then a year comes, the property appreciates. So now I go to the bank, get the money, and pay them off. So
Yeah.
and it was pretty creative, and I mean it was a win-win. They got what they wanted. They just had to wait a year for it, and now I got a tenant in there that's doing great, and the property is in a area that is gonna be. I mean, they building up so much around there, so that property is it's gonna be the next 2 or 3 years it probably double in price.
So a couple of things there. First of all, just the creativity, that was amazing. So in terms of the risk, right? So in a perfect world, you find somebody to go into the building before the 90 days so that they can start paying, so that once the 3 month commitment, you can use that money.
Yep.
So what if that doesn't happen? And I'm typically not a glass half full person, but I'm like, that was genius. So I'm just gonna, just for a second, I'm gonna, and typically I don't do this, but just for a second, glass half empty. So what do you do, okay, if you can't find a tenant? Or is that just was never in your mind?
Never, because I looked at the space, and seeing another thing in commercial, what's its best use? So you don't want to get a building that's a restaurant and you trying to, rent it out to somebody as a daycare. So what is the best use for this building? So I went to everybody that was in that space. It was a restaurant, so let me find somebody that's a restaurant. Let me market to restaurant people. Let me market to anybody out of town, anybody that has a restaurant and wants a second location. So I marketed to those people and found somebody. So I didn't waste a lot of time just blanketly, letting people. I mean, and I did show it to some people that wasn't in the restaurant business, but I knew kind of what I wanted in there and what kind of person was going to be able to sustain it. So, I mean, it worked out. It's almost like I need you to quit your job.
I know, that's what I heard again.
So if you ever listen to my wife, she'll say, I've never seen a cliff I wouldn't jump off of. So,
and see, and I wanted to reach out to her too, because, but a lot of times, and don't be offended by this, a lot of times there's one spouse that talks the most, right? And so when I've interviewed couples together, there's always the one that, and I've seen you all interview together before.
Oh, she's a talker. She's a talker.
No, I thought you were the talker.
No, I had to out talk her because I couldn't get a chance to get a word in. So I had to keep talking. You might have seen me give it an eye too, like, hey, give me a little bit. This is my interview.
Wow. That's amazing. So you already knew that there was a market for the building, right? So this isn't you just shooting craps, right?
Yeah, no. I mean, if it was any other way, any other difference in that building, I probably wouldn't have got it. But I knew in the back of my mind, I'm like, oh, I kind of know exactly who I'd get in here. I'm like, let's do this deal. Then in commercial, I knew what was coming. I'm like, oh yeah, come on, y'all. Let's make it happen. I mean, every day I say, hey, what about this? What about if I was to do this? And, I even gave them a little extra monthly, more than what I thought they should have. And they took it. And I mean, it was a good deal. They was happy because they got what they wanted out of it. So.
And I'm also hearing a lot of sales and negotiation. Do you think
that's commercial? Yeah, you got to negotiate. I mean, even if you have an agent, it's agent to agent. It's called a letter of intent. That letter of intent is going to come with, okay, here's what we're trying to offer you. And they send it back. No, we won't do that, but we'll take this. Well, what about this? What if I put this in it? What about if I give you this other building? You know, so you just negotiate back, and once everybody's agreeing with the letter of intent, then that's when the contract's being wrote. So all that's been negotiated. Probably it might take 3 weeks to negotiate it. So, but you just got to be able to visualize what can go in and what you're gonna do with it. And I think right now, with commercial property, multifamily is doing well, industrial is doing well, and then we got retail, and then office space. So if anybody's looking at commercial property and you're looking to build office spaces, that's going to be one of your biggest hurdles right there because people working from home, they're getting out of the office. So that's kind of scarce right now. But retail, industrial, multifamily, apartment complexes. Those are the biggest commercial avenues right now.
So now I have to throw out my idea to you.
Okay.
So, like you said, office space is one of the hot things, but you're saying not so much lower.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say that question. How important is it to know what's going on in the city? Because I think with this commercial building, you were saying that you anticipate it to be worth double in 2 or 3 years. So is that another one of your feelings, or do you have some facts to back that up?
Oh, I got facts.
Oh. You're like, I don't always work on the feelings.
But, it's just, I read the Louisville Business First newspaper and just get online and just, watch the news every day. When they start talking about Louisville just received $1.5 million for housing development in the, Russell area. I started looking at Russell area. What's around here? What's happening? What's going on? Or if they say the old Louisville area. Louisville Business First might say the new chain restaurant is coming into the Highland area. Like, okay, what's around there? Because I'm always looking for a deal. And if I can now start looking at the area, I'll find something. So it's really just keeping, and I tell my agents this too, even when they doing real estate and not commercial, you in a great position because you know where the deals are before anybody else.
Right.
Make sure your money's together for when this deal comes so you can get it. Don't have that person call you saying they get ready to sell their aunt's house and they just want to get rid of it because she passed away, and you're beating yourself up because you don't have a couple dollars to get it.
Right. I was so surprised. I was at a NAREB event, National Association for Real Estate Brokers, and it was agents in the room, and they asked the agents how many of them were renting, did not own their own home. And I promise you about half. And I was like, what in the world? So how can you sell a product that you don't even have?
Right. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. And the agents I have, I always push, get you some investment property. When y'all going to do it? When, we might start talking about a deal, but before we leave, so when you going to get that first property? We got to get you a property. Get something, because you got to start building, because real estate is selling houses is only one part of it. You got the investment of it. You got the property management of it, the appraisals and the inspections, all that stuff. So at some point, they're not going to want to chase the money. You get too old to chase the money.
Right.
You can't chase the money and you have no investment properties, you're going to be still trying to chase the money.
And I know so to me, there's a different class. There's investor-friendly agents, and then there's agents that deal with home buyers. And I feel like there's a totally different mindset, because as an investor, I'm not going to live in the property. I don't have any feelings to go along with this property. When you're dealing with people who are going to live there, that's where all the feelings are. How can you help the people out there who are agents who are not savvy enough to work with those investors because they don't have property of their own?
So, any agent can do both investments and the primary residence. But when you deal with investors, you have to be in the driver's seat, because that investor is going to run you around ragged for this $10,000 house that they're trying to buy. Are they going to find a house that they want, but is 60,000, but they want to offer 30,000. So in the back of your mind, like, I'm just wasting my time. And every house they find, they're gonna lowball. So
because the numbers have to work. The numbers have to make sense.
Yeah. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's just that agent has to be ready for it. And you got to be in the driver's seat, like, hey, we've seen 10 houses, you can put contracts on 8. And nobody's taking this lowball stuff. We got to be realistic. You got to come up with a number that can really work for you.
Right.
And that's been in the driver's seat. If you're not in the driver's seat, it's going to be 20 houses. It's going to be just all day long. They're going to be sending you stuff. Hey, let's go look at this. And when you spinning your wheels and not making no money, you're going to realize real soon that you might be in the wrong business.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah. That's so good. That's so good. So what's next? Oh, here's where I wanted to go. So I just saw a post on social media talking about, somebody's about to come in and buy 300 units in an area and we need to work together. As far as like collaboration, maybe you got some, a couple dollars, I got a couple of dollars. Like, how can we start working together as a people to, buy up property? Or if there's other people who don't, maybe we don't have the knowledge that you have or the capital, what are some things that we can do in order to get together so that we can all come up together as opposed to everybody's just working in their individual silos?
And it's hard to get everybody to come together, as you see, because everybody has their own way if they want to do it. They want to have their own riches, their own, status. But if we come together, I mean, it has to be something like they call venture capitalists, those companies. I mean, they put up millions of dollars to do it. I mean, our money can work. It's going to take a little longer to build the capital that we need, but we got to be able to sustain it and come together and work because nobody can really see the riches in the year or two it takes. So, I mean, but let me switch a little bit. Trying to come up with ways that this is a freedom of whatever you want to do country. So it's never going to stop. So if we can get our family members that have the houses that, like in the West End, where grandmother passes away and nobody wants to take her to the house, and then the city takes the house, if we can just stop the bleeding there first, we can start taking some of our houses back. Even if the family member don't want the house, and then give it to another family member that's going to take care of the house, at least it stays in the family. But I think too, the city is trying to take those houses quick, so we can't kind of do what we want with them and get some money, pass it to another family member. So it's a lot of things working against us. So I'm willing to work with anybody to get this done. We have the similar situation in the city of Coldstream, which I'm the mayor of. Been the mayor for about 6 years in the city.
I didn't know we were talking to a mayor. See what I'm saying? All them accolades. Y'all didn't know we was talking to the mayor? The mayor what? Mayor what?
City of Coldstream. It's out Highway 22, Murphy Lane, by the Ford truck plant out that way.
Okay. So close to Prospect that way?
Close to Oldham County.
Oldham County. Okay.
Yeah, Oldham County. So
do you live out that way? Sorry.
I do.
Okay.
Well, yeah, I live in Coldstream.
Okay.
But yeah, we're having the same situation there. When we first started, we had about 10% renters in the city, and now we add about 20% renters.
Really? Okay.
Because those companies are coming in and buying up the houses, and the only way to stop it in our city is to change the deed restrictions. So it means go door to door, knock on everybody's door, get signatures. We'd have to have at least 75% of signatures to get a change on the deed, which that's the only way to do it. But real estate is one of the best investments still that's solid. So everybody's getting into the game, everybody. And there's no way to stop it because the stocks go up and down, 401ks, we got the Bitcoin, we got all those that just keeps plummeting. But real estate is solid. and everybody's taking advantage of it. In a healthy market, it's about 5,000 houses on the market at any given time. That's a healthy market. We had about 1,600.
Right. We haven't seen five. When's the last time we've seen 5,000 houses on the market?
Probably 2018, 17, maybe. It was way before COVID. So, and that's because people are just buying them all up. All these companies are buying them up, renting them out. So it's harder for a buyer to buy a house because if this company comes in and buys 50 in this area and rent them all out, that's 50 buyers that can't buy a house. And now we got the interest rates just went up. So now sellers, they're going to have to sell their house at a 3% interest rate and then get a 6% interest rate to buy another house. So that's slowing sellers down. And buyers are being slowed down because the interest rate's high and they don't want to buy. So we're in a kind of tough market right now that I'm not sure where it's going to go. But since there is a shortage of houses, that means every investor's out here hunting them down and knocking on doors and trying to get investment because they got to keep eating. So, and it's more investors. So we're in a tough spot with real estate. So I guess what I would say to anybody that's in real estate, come up with other ways to do it, come up with creative ways to do it, and get into other things, investing, property management, things like that until the real estate sales come back.
And so how are you typically able to find your deals?
Word of mouth, hunting, and somebody might just refer somebody. I might get a call and somebody says, "Hey, such and such told me that you're in real estate and you probably can help me sell my auntie's house." And first thing out of my mouth is, "Where's it at? How much is it?" But to be professionally, I want to know where it is because I'd love to get the deal, but I also have to be professional and ethically about it. And she called me to sell it, so I'm going to sell it. I'm going to give you the right comps, and I'm going to do everything in my power to sell it for you. If it don't sell, I'm here.
Okay. So you're able to do both. Okay. So we can put your house on the market for what you want. However, if it doesn't sell, I'm in a position to buy it from you.
Yep. Here's the comps for your house. Your house comps for your auntie's house is 150,000. And look at the houses around it. These are accurate comps. We can put on the market for 150,000. And we put on there today. I can get pictures. We can do the contract. We can do everything. And we put on the market. In the back of my mind, I'm like, well, if it don't sell, I'll take it.
Right.
But but ethically, I'll do everything I can. And just like I've had a property that we put on the market. It was a commercial property. Put on the market. They wanted X amount of money, and I gave them comps that it was lower than what they wanted. I mean, that they wanted to put on the market for. We put on the market for what they wanted. About 3 months go by, we dropped it a little bit. 3 months go by, dropped a little bit. And then finally, I said, I think it's really going to sell about at this mark right here. Put on the market. I said, well, you know what? I'll buy it. And they said, okay.
So, so if you are out there and you want to list your property, I hope you heard that if he can't sell it, he'll buy it.
All right. Not all of them.
Right.
But, just some good deals. And, like I said, I do everything in my power because I keep the feedback and everything of people come to see the house. So it lets them know that it's out there. They see the marketing. They get professional pictures. So they know I'm working at it. I'm not just trying to put it in my pocket and hide it until, I can buy it. So ethnically, I'll make sure I'm doing everything for my seller. I'm a buyer.
Right. So here's my idea. So a venue, a content creation venue. So right now, a lot of people live in an apartment, creating content is one of the top things that young people are wanting to do. So what if there was a space that, okay, you're a cook, there's a space you can rent out where you can create your content to cook, or if you're a makeup artist, the bathroom is souped up, you can create your content in the bathroom or wherever in this mixed-use commercial facility. Bottom is content creation, and then maybe there's a couple of apartments up top so that you have the rent from up top as well as, and of course the podcast studio room. So it's different content creation, almost like the thought of the office space, but content creation spaces. And then some apartments up top. So you have that income so that you're not solely depending on the content creation to pay the mortgage, but you have all of this potential income all at the same time.
I love it. I love it. I think that can work. I know some content creators and they're always looking for space. And I mean, the perfect space, so they can get the right pictures and the right angles and
the right lighting. And so if you could, so you have to set this up every time. What if it was already set up for you and all you had to do was book the space?
I love it. One thing I say is I love it because I just left a developer and we're working on some plans. I just got a house tore down that's in a commercial area and we're working on building a commercial building back. And I was trying to figure out what to do. So we might have to talk.
Right, we're about to talk offline about that.
I think that's a great idea. I mean, I don't know any that are around right now. So let's talk about that.
Okay.
I mean, seriously.
So what's next for you? You sold off all of your residential, dumped that into commercial. So and you want to, you're in your fives, you said, and you want to slow down a little bit. What does that look like? Having property in the South? What is the next step for you?
Well, I'm going to grow the company a little bit more. I'm going to be bringing on an operations manager. I got an office manager now that's a broker. So I'm going to step back a little bit, help to grow my commercial investments. Where my commercial investments are, I got a plan to buy more on that street because it is a hot street and I need to get it before everything comes. So, and that's it. Just enjoy. I got grandkids, so just enjoy life a little bit more. I mean, you never know what's going to happen.
Absolutely.
And I don't want to be 70 years old trying to get to the beach. About now I'm finally here. So we take a lot of trips. Our trips are sometimes Thursday to Sunday, Friday to Sunday, something like that, just to get away. So I just like doing that.
No, for sure.
Like those small trips. So, but that's it. Just take a step back, watch the company grow, and just grow my commercial.
So if we were going to put a bow on this entire conversation, what's the one thing that you would want, people out there who are listening, maybe want to get into real estate or just whatever. What would you want them to leave with? What's the one thing you want them to leave with?
One thing I want to leave them with is have a passion for what you want to do. Because when the money's gone and your passion's not there, you're going to be ready to go to the next idea. I mean, I've had so many different businesses and so many ideas, and just like anybody else, once you see it gets tough. It's like, you know what?
I'm out.
Yeah, I'm out. So, and people come to me all the time. Oh man, I got an idea. I got a plan. I got a business. And I used to jump on it, but now if it's not dealing with real estate, I'm not in it.
Oh, so that's like your niche down to real estate. It's got to be real estate related.
Because I can't, be a cook over here. I can't be in the real estate, and I can't try and sell vitamin water over here and give everything 100%. I give real estate 110% all day long. So whatever you get into, make sure it's a passion. Check out E.T. the hip hop preacher. If you want it bad, you want to breathe. But yeah, just have a passion for it, and the money's going to come.
All right. Couldn't have said it no better than that. Have a passion for it, and the money's going to come. Thank you so much for tuning into the Dana Spencer Show. Until next time, make sure you have a passion for it.